What happens when a president signs a bill worth billions of dollars, announces active military strikes on a foreign nation, and reveals a secret oil operation, all in the same afternoon? That's exactly what unfolded today, and most people have no idea how connected all of it really is. If you've been watching the news in pieces, you're missing the full picture. This video puts it all together for you. And before we go further, if you care about real, unfiltered breakdowns of major political moments, hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like button if you want more people to see this, and share it with someone who needs to stop scrolling and start understanding what's actually happening. Okay, let's get into it. It started with a signing ceremony. President Trump stood alongside Republican congressional leaders and signed what's being called the Secure America Act. This isn't a small piece of legislation. This bill fully funds the Department of Homeland Security through the remainder of Trump's term. That means no more budget battles, no more political standoffs over DHS funding. It's locked in. The money is significant. The bill allocates $38 billion to Immigration and Customs Enforcement and $26 billion to Border Patrol. Those are serious numbers. And Trump made clear he sees ICE and Border Patrol agents not as controversial enforcement tools, but as heroes, doing a dangerous and necessary job. Standing beside him were some of the most powerful names in Republican politics. Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Secretary of Homeland Security Mark Wayne Mullen, who Trump pointed out gave up a guaranteed Senate seat to take the role, Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and a long list of senators and representatives who helped push this legislation through. Trump didn't waste time getting to the conflict. He went directly at congressional Democrats, accusing them of spending more than 100 days trying to block all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. His framing was sharp and deliberate. He said they were trying to drag the country back to what he called the chaos and crime of the Biden years. Now, whether you agree with that framing or not, the political strategy here is clear. Trump is tying immigration enforcement directly to public safety, and he's doing it with data. He pointed to Washington, D.C. as his Exhibit A. He claimed the capital now has its best crime numbers in 58 years. Restaurants that were struggling or shutting down are now fully booked. The city, he said, looks and feels different. He also talked extensively about the National Mall's reflecting pool, which had reportedly been broken and neglected since 1922. His team cleaned it, refinished it with an industrial-grade waterproof surface, and got it functioning for the first time in a century. He said the original estimate was $400 million and 4 years of construction. His team did it in a month and a half for roughly $10 million. Whether you take those numbers at full face value or with some skepticism, the optics of a restored national landmark just ahead of July 4th are hard to argue with. From there, he turned to the broader immigration numbers. He said that for the past 11 months, not a single person entered the United States illegally through the southern border. He called it nearly impossible to believe, but said even the tracking systems, built largely by Democratic administrators, show the number at or near zero. He referenced the caravans of tens of thousands of people that used to form and push toward the border. He said they no longer come because they know they won't get through. He made another pointed claim about crime. He said 2% of people are responsible for 91% of crime, and in Washington, D.C. alone, nearly 5,000 people with serious criminal records were removed from the city. Some had arrest records with 20, 22, even 28 prior charges. He said those people are gone and won't be coming back. He extended that story to other cities. New Orleans had its safest Mardi Gras ever, with 0 murders during the event. Memphis saw crime fall by 77%. He said both cities called him to share the results. And then he made a direct challenge to Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles, saying if they'd work with his administration the way other cities have, they'd see the same results fast. He also hammered on cashless bail policies, calling them one of the greatest gifts ever given to criminals. People arrested in the morning, released, and committing another crime the same afternoon, sometimes a murder. He said cities should end those policies immediately. Now here's where the story shifts completely. Pause for a second. This is the part that most coverage glosses over or buries. Take 15 seconds right now. Go ahead and drop a comment below with just the word Iran. It tells the algorithm this video matters, and it helps more people find this breakdown. Okay, keep watching. A reporter asked Trump about a social media post he had made earlier that morning. In it, he said Iran had taken too long to reach a deal, and that now they would have to pay the price. The reporter asked what he meant. Trump didn't soften it. He said they were attacking Iran and attacking them hard. Here's the background you need to understand why. Iran had reportedly shot down a U.S. military helicopter. At first, Iranian officials denied it, then they admitted it. Trump said the helicopter had an Iranian missile lodged in it that didn't fully detonate. Both pilots survived and were rescued. He described the rescue operation as remarkable, crediting the quality of U.S. military equipment and training. But Trump framed the helicopter incident as only part of a much larger picture. He said he has been working on a deal with Iran for months, a deal that would formally prohibit Iran from ever developing a nuclear weapon. He said the deal is, in his words, fully negotiated. The paperwork is done. All that's needed is a signature. And Iran, he said, keeps stalling. He contrasted this directly with the Obama-era nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA. Trump called that agreement a path toward a nuclear weapon, not away from one. He said under that deal, Iran was actively developing nuclear capability. Under his deal, they would be permanently prohibited from having one. He also credited Pakistan's Prime Minister and Field Marshal with helping mediate. He said Pakistan and India had come dangerously close to a nuclear conflict, and that his direct involvement stopped it. Whether that claim is verifiable in full detail is another question, but he stated it plainly as part of the Iran context. Then he said something that changed the temperature in the room. He announced for the first time publicly that the United States has been secretly removing millions of barrels of oil from Iran every night, using ships running without lights because U.S. forces had disabled Iran's radar systems. He said he had wanted to announce this earlier but held back to avoid compromising the operation. He said Iran had just recently figured it out, which is why he felt comfortable revealing it now. He connected this directly to oil prices. He said if the U.S. had not been conducting those operations, oil could have hit $250 a barrel. Instead, it's sitting around $85 to $90. He framed this as a kind of hidden economic protection running parallel to the military operation. He also talked about the stock market. He said the Dow has hit 50,000, a number that experts had projected was 5 to 6 years away. He said the S&P 500 had reached 7,000, and in his time back in office, the market has hit all-time historical highs 74 times. He acknowledged that before launching the military operation against Iran, he gathered his economic advisors and warned them directly. He told them the stock market would likely fall by around 25%. He said they all agreed the risk of Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon was worth it. He said the market did drop, and then he said it came back and hit new records. He described the broader military picture in stark terms. Iran's navy is gone. 159 ships are at the bottom of the sea. Their Air Force planes have been destroyed. Most of their drone manufacturing capacity has been eliminated. Most of their missiles are gone. The leadership structure that existed when the conflict began has been removed and replaced. And now, he said, his team is negotiating with that new leadership. He also referenced a prior operation in Venezuela. He described it as a 48-minute military action. He said Venezuela is now, in his words, a happy country, and that the U.S. is extracting millions of barrels of oil from Venezuelan territory. When asked about inflation figures that came out that morning, Trump said he loves the current numbers and fully expects oil to drop significantly once the Iran conflict ends. He pointed to gas prices he saw in Iowa before the operation began, $1.85 per gallon, and said that's where prices will return. There were other moments too. A reporter asked about the World Cup, which starts tomorrow in the United States. Trump said ticket sales have broken every record in the history of the tournament. He spoke to FIFA leadership that morning and said the response has been unlike anything the sport has ever seen. He also briefly addressed visa concerns, saying the administration is working to ensure the right people are admitted. On the USMCA, the trade deal with Canada and Mexico, Trump said he's not necessarily looking to renew it. He said the deal's value to him was always one specific feature: the right to terminate. He said under the old NAFTA agreement there was no exit clause. He added it deliberately to USMCA. And now that the renewal window falls during his current term, he said the U.S. holds all the leverage. He said the U.S. doesn't need Canadian lumber, Canadian energy, or Mexican cars, but both countries need American markets. He also announced the early start date of Bill Pulte's role overseeing the Director of National Intelligence Office, with plans to downsize the agency. He said many in both chambers have long felt the DNI was a duplication of other intelligence functions. He said a permanent replacement is being selected from 5 candidates and will be announced soon. Toward the end, reporters asked about 2 Democratic congressional candidates, one in Maine and one in New Jersey, both of whom Trump criticized sharply. He said one has a documented connection to a figure convicted in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and served as a positive character witness at that trial. He called the other candidate a thug and a phony, saying no person with that kind of record has ever run for serious office at any level. On Susan Collins, the Republican senator from Maine facing a difficult race, Trump gave what he called a practical endorsement. He said they don't always agree ideologically, but he called her a sane, serious person who has never missed a vote in years. He contrasted that record with her opponent. When asked what he wants for his birthday, the press event took place on his birthday, Trump said peace for the world. Not just the Middle East, the whole world. Before we leave today's story, think about what just happened in one single press event. A $64 billion enforcement bill was signed. Active military strikes on Iran were confirmed and described in unusual detail. A previously secret oil removal operation was revealed for the first time. Record stock market highs were cited, trade deal leverage was declared, and a major international soccer tournament starting tomorrow was addressed, because even that connects to the question of who is allowed into the country and under what terms. This is what a high-stakes political moment looks like when nothing is left off the table. Here's the question worth sitting with. When a government reveals military operations, announces economic metrics, signs major legislation, and challenges other nations, all in the same 45 minutes, what does that tell you about the speed at which the world is now moving? And more importantly, are most people paying close enough attention to keep up? If this video helped you understand what actually happened today, not just the headlines but the full picture, then do one thing. Share it. Right now. Text it to someone. Post it, send it to a group. Because the people who only catch pieces of this will keep misreading the moment. You've now seen the whole thing. Stay sharp, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.